This is Inside Analysis with Any Guy and Jerry Atric. Shit, I'm not wearing any pants.
And neither am I, because this week's sponsor is Hanes Long Dong Underwear. It's the push-up bra. Man and I. Now, before we get to the show, I'm going to have to bring up a few changes that you at home, yes you, might notice with Inside Analysis this week. First and foremost, that you're going to see, and you'll go to your friends and you'll boast because it's so great, is we've changed the format of our show. You're going to see, instead of just a pre-game, the game of the week, and then a post-game all about that game with little things scattered here or placed over there or kind of maybe shuffled around like our hair, we're going to start with just a nice headlines, start talking about different things going on, NFL news for that week, and then towards the end of the show, you're still going to get your big-time game of the week as determined by us, nice highlights of the game, some good commentary in between, and you're also going to notice a little difference with me, Any Guy, because I am, unfortunately, a compulsive gambler, and I am a member of GPK, Gamblers Publicly Known, since I'm not a member of Gamblers Anonymous if I just told you I'm there. And it causes anxiety and manic depressiveness within me, so I'm on new medication and a new personality for a new Any Guy. I'm Any Guy. And now I'm going to walk over to my broadcast partner for the show, Jerry Atric.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, fans at home. I don't know whether to be more excited by the fact that Any Guy is sitting next to me without pants on, or to be more excited about the fact that we have a new format. But let's get right into it, Any. Let's talk. James Harrison, Rodney Harrison, two men, the same last name, worlds apart.
Those are two worlds. This one's over here, this one's over here. And there's a line in between to show that this world's apart from this world. Just like those two guys. Because Rodney Harrison, one of the dirtiest players in the NFL, he'd lower his head and he'd headbutt somebody walking on the street. A grandma carrying her groceries and say, "You're down, bitch." But let me tell you something about being down and being around. Rodney Harrison came out this week and said publicly that he agrees with the NFL's newly implemented policy to suspend players for violent or helmet-to-helmet hits that are deemed illegal by the National Football League and their committee. Atric, tell him what's up.
If that wasn't shocking enough, James Harrison has put himself on the chopping block saying, "Hey, guess what, NFL? You want to play like a bunch of pansies and find me $75,000 for laying down a hit on Messiah." What was his last name again?
Muhammad Massaquoi. It is not a prophet that went down to the Muslims, the Jews, whoever he spoke to. Oh no.
Thanks for that assist. But no, he has said that he will retire. He is contemplating it, severely contemplating it. Annie, what are your thoughts? Is it true that the NFL has really laxed?
Well, I don't know.
They have taken out the word hit.
Oh, I'll tell you what. You want to talk about hit? I think the NFL has taken a laxative and taken a shit. And they've let out all the aggression, all the violence, and all the big hits that people want to see because they're all concerned about player safety. And they don't want anybody to get a little boo-boo and have to wear a Band-Aid, maybe with Dora the Explorer, maybe with Elmo, maybe with Big Bird. And they all got little birds, just like Brett Favre. And I think that's why that the NFL is going out and they're changing this policy. Because I got to say, just like Carlos Dansby said, by 2012, they're going to be counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, all the way up to 5 Mississippi, before they're allowed to even come in and rush the quarterback. It's ridiculous. They're taking away the fundamentals of the game. And if it doesn't piss you off, then you're not a football fan. I'm a football fan, and I'm Any Guy.
Well, let me tell you something. I agree, but then again, I disagree. I mean, you got to stay safety first. Boo-boos and scrapes and bruises. Yeah, if you're going to cry about that, go home, play soccer or something. But if you are going to get a concussion and suffer memory loss like Deshaun Jackson, wide receiver of the Philadelphia Eagles, then you know what? You have an argument here. Safety should come first. And if you're getting helmet-to-helmet contact, players should be fined, and they should be suspended.
Well, let me tell you something about that I feel. I feel that if a player is going to be suspended for helmet-to-helmet contact, then it has to be a hit just like Brandon Merriweather on Todd Heap. Brandon Merriweather, the safety, the defensive back, whichever you like to call him, for the New England Patriots, fined $50,000 for his aggressive helmet-to-helmet hit on the leaping, totally unsafe, and definitely not protected and unaware Todd Heap, who took the shot right to the head, who was down on the ground. Very brutal moment. I believe that's a play that the player should get suspended for because that's a malicious hit. He led with his head and intended to crack Todd Heap right in the skull. But you look at Dante Robinson, the player who went over and cracked Deshaun Jackson way back to the grass. Then I got to say he should not be suspended because looking at that hit, it was not malicious. He led with his shoulder right into the sternum. He didn't intend for a helmet-to-helmet hit. He just kind of went in there, tried to draw the ball loose, did successfully. Their heads happened to collide. I think the NFL has to be careful on what it deems an aggressive hit.
Well, the judgment call is going to have to come from Commissioner Goodell. Fans, if you have comments on a topic, feel free to follow us on Twitter and comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/InsideAnalysis, one word. But let's switch gears here and talk
also,
about...
twitter.com/InsideAnalysis before we switch gears.
Good save by you. Let's switch gears real quick and talk about...
Are we in neutral or third gear?
We're in third gear here
Thank
because
you.
we are talking about Gay. No, not that Gay. Being put on the IR by the Saints.
Yeah, let me tell you something about that. I mean, you see that rainbow up there in the corner? That's the only reason we mentioned this. I'm not going to lie. But we thought it was a pretty good way to bring it in and say, if you're gay, so is he. But, last name-wise, I guess. That was good, right?
A good play on words there, and if we made you chuckle, then we succeeded at doing our job.
Chuckle below the buckle is what gay might do. Anyway, listen. He was put on IR. Darren Sharper's coming back. He's been hurt. They picked up a veteran safety this week to hopefully fill in for him, even though Randall Gay is a corner. But he is a veteran player. That's something that could hurt the Saints, and we've seen them not be too great on defense this year. Could be a problem. You want to talk about gears and whether we're at neutral or third gear, I'll tell you somebody who might not have known about any of that this past week, and that's the Colts punter McAfee, who was arrested on a drunk driving charge this past week.
Okay, it's one thing if your name is Braylon Edwards and you get pulled over for drinking, but if you are the punter for the Colts, somebody that doesn't see the football very often because, of course, you are punting for the Colts, one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL for the past, decade, and you go ahead and drink one too many at the wheel, man, you are lucky to even have a job out there, man, and you are putting yourself in jeopardy. I would not be surprised if the Colts had a new punter tomorrow.
I'll tell you about that. They actually called me to go out there, any guy, to be there. All right, that's a lie. They definitely didn't do that. But I can wish, I can hope, I can dream, and I could scream if they did. Kind of like a little girl. Kind of like, woo, hee. But anyway, they didn't do that. They wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I'm not a good punter. Anyway.
Well, let me tell you something. If you pulled out that extra large dong now that it's enhanced by the Hanes extra long dong pair of boxes you have on right there, then maybe they would have accepted you as punter. Or at least as a cheerleader.
Yeah, because it's I guess, are you implying it's a well-known fact that all NFL cheerleaders have large dongs?
No, I'm not implying that either, but now with Gay being on IR, maybe you could substitute in, but then go to the Colts.
That's a pretty good theory by you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Game of the week, as decided by Duct Tape Productions. Miami Dolphins hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know what everybody at home right now is saying. They're sitting there, they're looking at the TV screens, they got their popcorn, their licorice, their Twizzlers, maybe their antifreeze if you're into, suicide drinking things, trying to die, whatever. You're throwing everything around and you're saying, what? The Steelers and the Dolphins. You got Brett Favre going back to Lambeau Field. That's the game of the week. You got the Giants coming in. And you got, what's that other guy? Tony Romo. Oh, hi. Going out there, chucking the football around. The Giants went in there. Eli Manning wrote first victory at the new stadium. Big thing, all that. How are those not the game of the week? Jerry Atric, tell them what's going on and why those aren't the game of the week. Tell them we're not crazy. We didn't miss these things.
Well, let me tell you, we did see it. We saw the schedule. We were informed by Duct Tape Productions because we had a Minnesota Vikings-Dallas Cowboys game broadcast last week. Because we had the Vikings the week before that. Yes, you see them holding up to number 2. We're not going to show you fans the Vikings 3 weeks in a row. No. As much as we would like to have called either one of those games, it's not like a gun was held to our head and we were forced to pick the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's just that we were told if we did not, we would, let's just say not be sitting here right now.
So I mean, it's not like we had the proverbial job gun placed through our head, you know what I'm saying? Not Job Gun, maybe Top Gun. Good movie. What's that one? You don't want to write a check that your body can't cash or something?
Well, that was with Tom Cruise, but let's go ahead now and take an opportunity to take a look at the highlights of this week's NFL Game of the Week. the Miami Dolphins hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This is going to be the opening drive of the game. You see everyone dressed in pink for breast cancer awareness. Steelers come out. They've got an I formation. Rashard Mendenhall takes the carry and gets a big chunk of yards, 11 yards. Fires. He's got a man wide open. It's Hines Ward. What a catch right there across the middle of the field after a good drop back, a catch, 16 yards. The Pittsburgh Steelers only beyond 3rd and 4, 5, and rain like this, might as well be 3rd and a mile. And Roethlisberger fires. It's almost intercepted. Right off the... Coming down now, their first drive of the game. They're going to get the ball at their 11-yard line. Good way to stiffen up by the Miami defense at the right time, despite the fact that Pittsburgh seem to be moving the ball pretty well overall. And now, Ronnie Brown to the outside. He bounced off a tackle by Troy Polamalu. Be a toss to the right. Is he going to find anywhere to go? Any running room? No. He's going to get no yards. Even though he might have got 1 yard, they're going to say no, your progression was stopped, and he was pushing.
And take a breath, Eddie, because that is the 2-minute warning.
I don't believe it. You're right. You are absolutely right about that, boss.
Snap.
It is going to be Ronnie Brown back to take the snap.
No, it's not. It's going to be Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams taking the carry. And just like we're used to seeing, the Pussycat gets some 12 yards on a carry in the slot. The Dolphins back looking and fires to a wide open Brandon Marshall, a guy who's been targeted nearly 70 times this football season. And he's now back looking. Could be a touchdown for Ronnie Brown. It is!
Off the draw play, Ronnie Brown.
Oh, man, that's phenomenal.
You've got to be liking your chances. I hope we edited that out.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to be liking your chances of winning big money right now.
Oh, my God. He bombs it up wide, and it's going to be Mike Wallace who's down there, and he's able to make the catch. Please drop it. Please drop it. He does. I love this football team. The Miami Dolphins. He gets back up. He's not going anywhere, but I love the fact that that ball came out. Pittsburgh 0 points. Miami 7. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Pittsburgh.
We're used to seeing in weeks of late. Look at that.
And Brandon Marshall wide open. I bet the mortgage to my house on this football.
Oh, man. That is not a good thing at all.
Absolutely right about that. And Hines Ward, a phenomenal
fourth down territory right here.
2 minutes left. I would say it's not going to even be decided because Hines Ward's able to make a catch going to the 2-minute warning. Looks, fires, end zone. Mike Wallace comes down with it. You son of a bitch.
What you got to do here?
And it's thrown to James Farrier. Chad Henne not doing what he needs to do. Chad Henne making some moves. James Farrier's down at the 8. No, Rashard's going to walk into the end zone right there. Pushes it ahead. They may have let him go that inside analysis. He threw this ball right to Troy Polamalu, who's, of course, going to make the catch. And he flips it. He tried to bring it back. And he gave it to Brandon Marshall. They're going to have no time left to do it. And that was a recap of the game of the week. It was fun, it was exciting, and it was also quite uninviting for me as I lost the mortgage to my house. Next week I'll give you an update on if I'm able to get that back. But, Jerry, tell them what the game was about. Well,
besides the main storyline of you losing your household by putting money on the Miami Dolphins, this game was dominated by two things. The double R, the run game, and the rain game. If you look at the ticker below, you will see the statistics, but unfortunately we have rambled on way too much, and it appears we are out of time yet again.
Sorry, I was trying to make an R for you folks at home, but you can look at your keyboard. It's probably next to Q or P or something like that, or is that the alphabet?
That sounds to me like the alphabet.
Oh, well, whatever. It's on there somewhere. I can't even read, so I don't know what the letter R looks like. But we are going to have to let you go. You see the stats going below. We know Mike Wallace got a touchdown. Rashard Mendenhall got a touchdown. Ronnie Brown got the touchdown. Chad Henne, 2 interceptions. Not very good.
And if you are a fan of meteorology, there was a lot of rain.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Speaking of fan, you could be a fan of us on Facebook.com/InsideAnalysis or Twitter.com/InsideAnalysis. Or you can also look for this handsome devil, Any Guy, on Facebook.com/Any Guy.
Or the other handsome devil, Jerry Atric. Just look me up on Facebook. You'll find me. I'm one of a kind.
That's exactly right. So, for Jerry Atric, I'm Any Guy. I put the anal in analysis, and we'll see you next week here on Inside Analysis.